Every week we're getting into the best and the worst of what's happened in the NFL. Let's go.
This is your Week 12 NFL Awards.
Conspiracy Theory of the Week. And yes, the Chiefs are involved. It all comes back to Taylor Swift, T-Swift. And you know what, Chiefs fans? You can blame the Swifties for killing your Super Bowl run. Why? Taylor Swift turned down doing the halftime show. Roger Goodell didn't take kindly to that. He wants the NFL to take over the world. And his perfect plan involves the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again and Taylor Swift doing the halftime show. And his dream is not happening. When what has he done ever since? Kind of pulled back the strings a little bit on getting the Chiefs those close wins. And because of that, their record 6-5, they're in danger of not only not going to the Super Bowl this year, not winning their division, and missing the playoffs. Roger Goodell over there is like, don't ever say no to me, T-Swift. Don't ever say no, or your husband will never see another Super Bowl again. Also, to add to that, another crazy thing, there's a real scenario that not only does Patrick Mahomes miss the playoffs, but Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow all miss the playoffs this year. Let's keep an eye out. If Roger Goodell isn't pulling the strings for Patrick Mahomes to make it to the playoffs and possibly a Super Bowl, keep your eye out for him to do it for one of these other guys. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow. There still is a scenario that if Joe Burrow comes back and rattles off some wins, Cincinnati could make the playoffs and make a run. I don't know what to do with the New Orleans Saints. You know what? I do know what to do. When you're in a position where the Saints are, this is just experiment and have fun time. Why isn't Kellen Moore doing that? Kellen Moore was hired as the Saints head coach for his creativity. What are we doing? There's nothing interesting about that offense at all. Put in Taysom Hill! Do it! Send him on 25 run plays, quarterback draws, do some read option. Just pound the rock with Taysom Hill. We need it. We want it. And we deserve it as fans. As football fans, we deserve something interesting out of New Orleans. Sourdough, he needs to be benched. It's not working. I don't care. We need Taysom Hill. You know what the pity is, too, is they actually have really cool uniforms. The All Blacks were awesome. I think it was the week before. They wore their all whites. They're a good-looking football team. They have a great stadium. They have a great fan base, and they deserve better. I never root for injuries. I never do that. Disclaimer, I never root for injuries at all. But my point here is, if Sourdough unfortunately were to get injured during a game, that probably would be better for Kellen Moore's job security because he would be forced to put Taysom Hill at quarterback, change his offensive scheme around him, and pound the rock. Because there's not many things that get me more fired up than seeing old school football just taking the ball and just saying, this is where I'm going to go, and I'm going to get 4 yards every time, and Taysom Hill's going to be bloodied up in the face. He's going to take some shots, but guess what? Fans respect that. Kellen Moore, give the fans what they want. Before we get to Kev's Dominant Dogs, we're starting with the Played Like Booty Cheeks Award. This goes to 3 players. 1, Saquon Barkley. I don't even know what to say about the Eagles' second half performance, but the reason Saquon is on this list this week, the reason he is taking home this hardware, is because his entire game was booty. You would think a bad game for Saquon would be, 75 yards, no touchdowns, maybe a fumble. He had a total of 22 rushing yards, and that's it. And he even lost a fumble. To make matters worse, second player, Jonathan Taylor. Now, with fantasy football coming down to the wire, you really did not want a performance like this out of Jonathan Taylor or Saquon Barkley for that matter. 58 yards, no touchdowns, and the Colts lose to the Chiefs. Last but definitely not least, J.J. McCarthy. Boy, has he become a meme on the internet. This guy had one good game and hasn't been able to do anything ever since. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL and you put up this stat line here that I'm about to read to you, you get benched and probably sent to the CFL, Canadian Football League. 12 for 19, 87 yards, 2 interceptions. That's right. That's the whole game For the whole game, J.J. McCarthy attempted 19 passes, only got 87 yards, and threw it to the other team twice. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, but he has shown some promise in the past. I mean, he probably had the preseason of the year last year before he got injured and everything like that. But my goodness, not a good look. Dominant dogs of the week. If you watched any football this last weekend, you knew Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be on my dog list. 15 carries, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. But that wasn't all. I didn't forget receiving. 11 receptions, 45 yards, and another tug. Now in a game where the Lions needed something, needed another spark, needed something else to get them over the line against a absolute dazzling performance from Jameis Winston. Jameis has a lot of heart, and he willed that team to a competitive ball game. Jahmyr Gibbs stepped up, put the team on his back, busted out for 55 fantasy points. Now that's a dog. Second dog of the week comes out of Lambeau Field. Now, what's special about this guy is when your number's called in the NFL, you have to be ready to step up and go. And that's exactly what Emmanuel Wilson did. Josh Jacobs, late scratch. I don't know what kind of heads up Emmanuel Wilson had during the week, but it didn't matter. He put up a heck of a stat line. 28 carries, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Love was nowhere to be found. 139 yards, no touchdowns. Jordan Love, where'd you go? Good thing Emmanuel Wilson had your back. Man, give that guy a game ball, and he is a Kev's Dominant Dog of the Week. We're headed to the Pacific Northwest for the third dog of the week. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8 receptions, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. I love a redemption story, and I love seeing a player come into his own. You got both of those on the Seattle Seahawks roster right now. You have Sam Darnold putting up a season. I think he's getting comeback player of the year. Him and Jackson Smith-Njigba have found a connection. And these boys are running it up on him. Running it up. Oh, it's hard to say this because they kind of fly under the radar a little bit up there in Seattle, but they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders. And why? It's not just Sam Darnold. It's not just Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's not just Kenneth Walker. It's their defense. Those guys can play. And that is an all-around great football team and something I love to see. I love to see not just one dog showing up, but the whole crew. This brings us to Midman of the Week. That's right, a player that's just good enough to not be traded, but not good enough to get you anywhere else. And that, of course, is Trevor Lawrence. He put up the perfect Midman stat line this week. 3 touchdowns. Great. Thank you, Chi-Law. Thank you, Trevor. That's awesome. Oh, but what comes right after that? 3 picks. Nice. Being a Jaguars fan really sucks. I don't love him. I don't hate him. But he's not getting us to a Super Bowl unless the entire team around him is just filled with Pro Bowlers. He is Alex Smith. He'll get you to the playoffs sometimes. He's a good quarterback. Good enough to pay him. He's got $55 million in the bank now. Oh, you're never going to make it over the hump with him. And that is what makes the perfect Midman of the Week. And those are the award winners for this week in the NFL. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.